Imagine you open Instagram just for 5 minutes to relax. And next thing you know, 30 to 40 minutes have vanished in a blur of dancing cats, cringe comedy, and people getting hurt. You close the app feeling oddly worse. A bit anxious, a bit angry, maybe even hating humanity. At least a little. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Instagram Reels and their TikTok cousins are addictively entertaining, but they can also mess with your mind and mood. In this video, we dive into the science of why endless Reels might be making you feel lousy, backed by research and studies. The addictive design of infinite scroll. First of all, let's be honest. Reels and TikToks are engineered to be addictive. The endless scroll is no accident. It's a deliberate design to keep you swiping with no natural stopping points. In fact, researchers note that social media apps use deceptive design features such as limitless scroll specifically to maximize the time you stay glued to the screen. By the way, this same trend can be seen in web design. That's why many product websites no longer require users to click through pages. More products just load automatically as you scroll. The barrage of bite-sized content creates a dopamine-driven feedback loop. Each funny clip or like on your post gives a tiny brain reward. Instagram's design literally manipulates your brain chemistry. Every swipe or like triggers a hit of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, that leaves you wanting more. It's the same cycle as any addiction. Short-lived pleasure followed by craving. One article likens social media scrolling to being as habit-forming as caffeine addiction. Except instead of a coffee buzz, you get mind-numbing zombie scroll mode. Importantly, this just one more design keeps you hooked despite yourself. Psychologists refer to flow state, being so immersed in an activity that you lose track of time and external concerns. Have you ever stopped scrolling due to the internet problem or app bug? Yeah, that's it. You feel that, right? You stop only when you're forced to. Instagram and TikTok are masters at inducing this state. A 2023 Baylor University study found that telepresence, basically feeling immersed in the social media world, was strongly tied to problematic use and addiction symptoms. Users in a deep scroll trance often continue despite negative consequences, like neglecting real-life tasks. In that study, about 28% of Instagram users and 24% of TikTok users would qualify as addicted based on diagnostic criteria. So if you felt it's impossible to put down your phone while Reels autoplay one after another, well, that's by design, not your lack of willpower. The app is literally hijacking your brain's reward system. One nasty side effect of this endless scroll is time distortion. Research confirms this is common. TikTok users report losing sense of time more than Instagram users, often spending far more time than intended because the constant stream of short videos warps their sense of duration. The app's reinforcement, maybe the next video will be even better, encourages us to keep swiping. So if quick break ate your evening, you are not alone. An hour spent on Reels is an hour not spent on actual rest. Harvard Business Review aptly dubbed this phenomenon the scrolling rabbit hole. You get sucked in and neglect other tasks. The result? You feel unaccomplished and annoyed at yourself afterwards. Perhaps the most concerning effect is on your mental health. Research is increasingly linking heavy social media use, especially these short-form video apps, with higher levels of anxiety and depression. If, after a Reel binge, you feel nervous, on edge, or down, science says that's not just your imagination. For example, a cross-sectional study in Greece, published 2025, found a positive association between problematic TikTok use and anxiety and depression symptoms in adolescents. In other words, teens who used TikTok compulsively were more likely to feel anxious or depressed. This held true for both girls and boys in the study, and excessive TikTok also correlated with increased daytime sleepiness. likely from late-night scrolling binges. Instagram isn't off the hook either. Internal research at Facebook revealed a bleak picture of Instagram's impact on young people's mental well-being. According to the Wall Street Journal's review of Facebook's own studies, teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression, an effect that was unprompted and consistent across groups. One Facebook slide bluntly stated, "We make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls." This social comparison-fueled self-esteem hit can obviously feed into depression and anxiety. Even outside the teen demographic, the constant highlight reel of others' lives can make anyone feel inadequate. One major factor is that social media becomes a poor coping mechanism. The Baylor study noted that while apps might provide a temporary escape from worries, over-reliance on them correlates with worse well-being. Essentially, scrolling at stress might increase stress long-term. The dopamine roller coaster we mentioned, quick hits of pleasure followed by emptiness, can leave you more anxious and moody. Over time, this cycle can contribute to real issues like chronic anxiety, low mood, or even clinical depression. To make matters worse, heavy social media users can develop what looks like ADHD-like symptoms. MRI studies of heavy Facebook users show patterns of poor attention and impulsivity similar to ADHD. And while Facebook is a different platform, the ultra-rapid swipe pace of Reels, Shorts, is even more likely to condition your brain toward short attention spans. Our brains start craving constant stimulation. One survey found that many TikTok users actually report videos longer than 1 minute feel stressful to watch. Imagine that. Content longer than 60 seconds now feels too slow for the TikTok-conditioned brain. Over time, this shrinks our ability to focus on anything not packaged in quick dopamine bursts. No wonder after endless reels, sitting through a calm 10-minute reading or work task can feel excruciating. Your brain's been trained to expect fireworks every 15 seconds. I heard a story about a guy who let his 10-year-old sister use ChatGPT. When he checked the chat history, he was shocked. At first, she asked it to do everything, even simple tasks like solving 3x15. When ChatGPT gave detailed responses, she kept asking it to make the answers shorter and shorter. Eventually, she asked it to shorten everything down to just one phrase. When you're inundated with highlight reels of other people's lives, it's easy to subconsciously start measuring yourself against them. Psychologists have long warned that comparison is the thief of joy, and on social media, it's turbocharged. The Center for Humane Technology reports that constantly viewing others' highlight reels or filtered posts provokes feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem in viewers. You're essentially flooding your mind with a montage of people who seem funnier, hotter, richer, or more talented than you. Remember, they're usually cherry-picked moments or algorithm-boosted content. After 30 minutes of that, of course you might feel like trash in comparison. This effect is especially pronounced for appearance-related content. Instagram's own research found the app can worsen body image issues for a significant portion of girls. But even if you're not a teen girl, the general principle stands. Whether it's influencers with perfect beach bodies, a 19-year-old driving a Lamborghini, or just your friend's ridiculously photogenic vacation clip, it can breed envy and a sense that you're falling behind. Studies indeed show that envy and social comparison on Instagram correlate with lower well-being. In one survey, over 40% of teens who felt unattractive traced that feeling back to Instagram use. Social media turns life into a competition for attention and validation, which is a recipe for insecurity. There's also the phenomenon of hate watching or hate following, where you follow people you dislike just to scoff or feel schadenfreude. It's more common than we admit. Ever found yourself doom scrolling through an enemy's cringy reel just to roll your eyes? Research has explored this too, finding that some users engage in hate following, which stems from envy and can actually give a twisted form of satisfaction, schadenfreude. But overall, it's not exactly healthy to consume content that fuels negative feelings. Whether envy of people's success or scorn at their stupidity, you're soaking in negativity like a sponge. Now to the darkest side. Does watching too many reels actually make you hate people? It might sound extreme, but there's a kernel of truth. Social media in general has been linked to greater anger and divisiveness in society. Part of it is the content. Outrageous or infuriating posts tend to go viral because anger equals engagement. Platforms, even unwittingly, often amplify content that provokes strong reactions, including rage or disgust. TikTok's algorithm, for instance, has been noted to sometimes push rage-baiting content if it keeps people hooked. So after an hour of algorithm-curated videos, you might have seen a mix of funny clips and a few that just make you say, ugh, people are awful. It could be a video of someone being stupid, or some people refuse to obey the law, or some other people committing crimes, or some Karen being regular Karen, or some protesters being crazy, or someone stealing Uber driver tips, or some people stealing goods, or friendly and nice people are being friendly and nice, or some thieves being shot in the face. The more of these you see, the more you might generalize that feeling to people at large. There's also the misanthropy via doom scrolling effect. Doom scrolling usually refers to obsessively consuming negative news. One 2024 study found that doom scrolling negative news was associated with higher existential anxiety, distrust of others, and even misanthropy, hatred of humankind. Essentially, constantly seeing bad stuff people do erodes your faith in humanity. Now, Instagram Reels aren't all news. You might be watching pranks or dance trends, but there are plenty of negative or toxic things in the mix. Bullying comments, divisive takes, or just idiots being idiots. If your feed serves you a steady diet of humanity's dumbest moments, it's no shock you'll come away a bit more jaded and angry. As one expert compared, heavy online exposure to negativity is like being in a room where people are continuously shouting at you. After escaping that room, you're frazzled and ticked off. Even without overtly negative content, the sheer volume of people's lives and opinions we consume online can be overwhelming. We see people behaving badly or bragging or begging for likes, etc., and it can breed cynicism. The Center for Humane Tech bluntly states, social media increases social division and anger, impacting everyone's well-being. So, yes, Reels can subtly make you angrier and more misanthropic. You start thinking, ugh, people suck, after scrolling, even if you can't pinpoint exactly why. It's the cumulative effect of online toxicity, FOMO, envy, and outrage content simmering in your brain's stew. We touched on this earlier, but it bears repeating. Short-form videos are chewing up our attention. TikTok's rapid-fire content model has spawned the term TikTok brain, referring to the shortened, jittery attention of habitual users. Multiple sources, including a 2022 Statista survey, reveal that over 60% of teen TikTok users report difficulty focusing in school or on longer tasks after being hooked on the app. Neurologically, it makes sense. Your brain gets trained to expect a reward every few seconds. If nothing exciting happens in 30 seconds, then you think, boring, next. Over time, this conditions you to be less tolerant of sustained, slower-paced activities, like reading a book, doing homework, or watching a slow-burn movie. I have heard of people saying Interstellar is a long and boring movie. Perfect example of a cooked brain. A recent study in Nature looked at adolescents' TikTok use patterns and digital well-being. It found that more time spent on TikTok was linked to more mind-wandering and difficulty in self-perceived attention. Another paper bluntly concluded that short video use negatively impacts attention functions, noting that addiction to mobile short videos diminishes self-control and executive function. In plain terms, binging on Reels might make it harder for you to concentrate, remember things, or control impulses. If you notice you can't even finish a 10-minute YouTube video without wanting to skip ahead, this could be why. It's not just mental effects. Your body can suffer too. Late-night scrolling under the covers exposes you to blue light and mental stimulation, ruining your sleep. Poor sleep then worsens anxiety, mood, and cognitive performance. In the Greek study, heavy TikTok users indeed reported more daytime sleepiness, likely from disrupted sleep. Other research cited in that study has linked TikTok addiction to poor sleep quality and even symptoms like headaches or eye strain. So, just one more video at 2 a.m. can snowball into you feeling like a fried nerve the next day. Anxious, cranky, and unable to focus. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself. It's called neuroplasticity. Every time you scroll, like, or swipe, you're reinforcing a neural habit loop. Over time, this repetition becomes automatic, even compulsive. Social media habits literally reshape your brain, making the scroll reflex stronger and harder to resist. The more you do it, the more ingrained it becomes, until picking up your phone is as unconscious as blinking. Ever felt your phone buzz, only to check and find nothing there? That's phantom notification syndrome. Your brain is so conditioned to expect alerts that it starts hallucinating them. Studies show up to 90% of people have experienced this. It's a sign of how deeply these platforms have embedded themselves into our nervous system, and how easily they hijack our attention even when we're not using them. One of the most insidious effects is cultural. Algorithms prioritize content that provokes, because outrage equals engagement. Harsh humor, chaotic pranks, even cruelty get boosted. Over time, this distorts what we perceive as normal. People start thinking, well, it must be okay. It has 2 million likes. This is how platforms shift social norms. Toxicity becomes entertainment, outrage becomes the standard tone. It's not just what's trending, it's what we're becoming used to. In response, many people are turning to dopamine detoxes, a trend where they cut out all high-stimulation activities like social media, junk food, even music. The idea? Reset your brain's reward system so you stop needing constant hits of dopamine. While the science behind it is still debated, what's clear is this: taking breaks from fast, dopamine-rich content helps restore your sensitivity to everyday pleasures, like reading, walking, or just doing nothing. This isn't to say Instagram Reels or TikTok are pure evil with zero redeeming qualities. They are fun, they can entertain, inform, and even inspire. But as we've seen, overindulging comes at a cost.
The science suggests that limitless short video scrolling can make you unhappier, angrier, more anxious, and attention impaired over time. In short, Reels can indeed make you worse if used recklessly.
So, what can you do? The obvious answer? Moderation. Set some limits. Many apps now have screen time limits. Let's say 15 minutes per day is enough. The researchers from the Baylor study recommend using screen time management tools and even enlisting an accountability buddy to help curb excessive use. It's like having a friend pull you out of the rabbit hole when you've been scrolling too long. Also, practice mindful scrolling. Be aware of how the content is making you feel. If you notice that certain types of videos trigger anger or insecurity, swipe away or hit not interested to train the algorithm. And seriously, no phones before bed. Your future self will thank you. The bottom line is, enjoy the reels, but don't let them rule you. Your brain didn't evolve for an endless stream of dopamine hits and social comparisons. As one expert put it, in small doses, social media can entertain and even educate. But when overused as a replacement for true connections, it can be addictive and detrimental to well-being. So, take back control. Watch that next cat video guilt-free, but know when to hit pause. Your mood, focus, and faith in humanity will greatly improve once you step off the never-ending reel roller coaster. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go touch some grass.